Welcome back, guys. It's been a little bit since I've actually recorded, and so I've done a little bit of work on the village here. Didn't want to do too much without you guys, but at the same time, I didn't want to sit here and record just kind of monotonous building over and over the same thing. So what I did is I went ahead and finished up these buildings that we had talked about here. So if you remember from the last video, we just had this one corner completely done, and I had the foundation blocks laid out. So I just went ahead and finished all four corners of this. So it's a total of 12 buildings, and you can see just villagers everywhere, pouring out of every house, iron golems everywhere, and so you know it's just basic housing. I haven't done anything inside yet at all, but the villagers have taken over all of them and have spawned even more villagers. And so we've got quite a few iron golems running around now. One of the other changes that I did as well is I went ahead and built the enchanting room. And I think the last time I just had that laid out basically. But this is what it looks like. I used the jungle trees for just kind of the exterior here. So it's pretty plain at the moment. We'll need to do something to spruce that up here in a little bit. But I think it's pretty cool because basically you walk in and this is just going to have some chests, some storage. I'll seal this off here, but I kind of wanted to leave it open to show you. So we've got pistons, 30 sticky pistons, basically wiring up this enchanting room. So you can see we've got the max enchanting room. Looks kind of cool because it's got the little tower, or the little hole here with the light. And the enchanting table, then you can just go ahead and enchant a max enchant. So now if we didn't have enough levels, like if we wanted to do a level 3 enchant, it's going to be too high right now because there's too many bookshelves. And a lot of people will just put torches up and then remove all their torches. Well, what we've done here is we have two switches. The first one here on the right is going to take away the top level of bookcases. So you can see now all the bookcases here are gone. And so now we just have two levels, which will allow us to do kind of a mid-range enchant. And if that's still too much, this other lever here and the bottom layer of bookshelves is gone. And so now we just have the middle layer, and that will let us get a low-level enchant. And now it's not going to do a really good job of getting the lowest of low enchants because there's still a whole layer of bookcases. And really, to ideally get like a level 3 enchant, you wouldn't have any bookcases. And I don't really plan on doing anything that low, so I think that this will be good the way it is right now. And realistically, this room would need to be a lot bigger for me to have pistons to take away the center as well. So I just have these two here, and then we've got all the bookcases. So I think that turned out pretty cool. And I'll probably, like I said, seal this off and put some chests in here to store stuff. And that's that. And so here I started to take out the wheat farm because the iron golems and everyone, they just trample all over the seeds, and it just doesn't really work out very well because basically they'll fall in this water and then they'll jump up and then wreck the seeds next to it, like I just did that piece right there. And so it's not very good. We're going to need to build like a greenhouse enclosure. Probably going to build the structure actually right here, just completely out of glass. And if you look at my intro video, or the intro for this video, you'll see one of the greenhouses that I built. It's probably just going to look very similar to that. And so then over here, I had mentioned that we were going to build kind of a storage area. And so I extended the street all the way out here and laid this out kind of how I want it. So it's going to be sandstone in the corners. I'm thinking the corners of the building going up will be the lapis, because I think the blue and will contrast with the sandstone pretty well. And so here's going to be kind of the layout, what it's going to look like. And so I've built one row basically, so it's just going to have double chests like this here. And then it'll be the same for all these rows here. And then I'm thinking I might not even put doors on this either, just leave it wide open as something that you can walk right through. And then I put down the road, just kind of extending the village again. And so then over here is kind of another project that I just laid kind of the foundation for. And this is going to be kind of a castle, I guess. It's going to be like the Nether portal castle, where you'll walk in, and the Nether portal is going to be right at the back here. and so we can travel to the Nether. And because that's going to be a pretty quick priority here, because we've got the wiring with the power plant all set up for the lights, and we really need to get some glowstone so that we can get some redstone lamps made. Oh, jeez. I don't even mess with these guys anymore because they just destroy everything. So I really need to get a bow and arrow on my toolbar so that they don't wreck my work, because it's getting a little sensitive here to where we've got some pretty good projects going. I don't really need to take the time to have them destroyed. So this castle here is going to go up, going to be kind of tall. What I'm thinking here is that these doors will be intact, and so we'll have some rooms for villagers to kind of keep the expansion of the village going and get the villagers moving over to this part of town, so that if we do want to extend it either that way or over here, the villagers will have kind of that natural progression away from over here. And so that's what that's going to be. And then I'm thinking that in this section here, we're going to have up above kind of like a wooden walkway, kind of an overlook, so that you can go up there, go up top. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get up there yet. If I'm going to knock this wall out and make these rooms just a little bit smaller and have kind of a walkway with some stairs coming up the back. So there'll be two walkways up above that look down into the Nether portal area here. And it really took me just a long time to do this, because if you remember, if you go back to the previous videos, if you were standing over here, and this is roughly where the power plant wire comes through. So if you remember that from a previous video, this is our redstone wire going to the power plant. And if you haven't seen the power plant, definitely check out the previous videos, because that is a very cool thing. But there was an entire mountain that looked just like this. I don't know if it's a hill or a mountain, made completely of sand that basically covered this entire area here. And so I spent probably about 20 iron shovels and a whole lot of time and dug that all out and leveled it all off. And then the bottom layer here was actually sandstone and cobble that I had to dig up and replace with sand. So that actually took quite a long time too, because almost every single block actually wasn't sand here. And so I did that all the way down so that we had room for our castle here. And then, oh, look at the iron golem. Look at him way out here. That's awesome. I've never seen him go that far out. Look at him just tearing people up out here. That's awesome. I wonder what possessed him to go all the way out here. Look at him. He keeps going too. He's like, oh, another zombie, another skeleton. That's great. Now I think he's just lost and doesn't know what to do. There actually was an iron golem way, way out in the water. And iron golems generally don't like water. If you have a 2-block area of water, they generally won't cross it. So to see him standing out kind of in the middle of the lake was just weird. And he wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't react. He'd just kind of stare at you, turn his head. But he wouldn't move, even when you'd push him. So then I just killed him, and he didn't even fight back. And that was pretty interesting, too, because you got some iron bars and things out of it when he died. But I think, man, this guy's just going rogue. It's like the Afghan soldier that killed all those people that just left the army base and started slaughtering people. We've got our own little rogue soldier here going off the reservation. So I don't know where he's going or what he's doing out here, but we're getting way off topic, and I think that after watching back the first couple videos of this series, I did a whole lot of talking and a whole lot of walking and not a lot of building, and so I apologize for that. I hope the video series hasn't been too slow so far, and I do promise that we'll get to some building together on these videos pretty quickly here. But there's one other thing that I want to show you too real quick before we start doing that. And it's really, I think, pretty exciting for me just because of the way it all worked out. You know, it was a lot of time and effort, and it kind of paid off finally. So I just want to show you some of the enchants that I did. I got a diamond pick that I put 50 levels into and got efficiency 4, which isn't bad, but I feel like I got really shafted on a level 50 enchant. It would have been nice to have something else with it, and was certainly hoping for the fortune enchant so we could get all those diamonds harvested. But it didn't work out, and I'm going to use this diamond pick for the obsidian, so efficiency will be nice for that. This is my best pick that I've got, another 50 level enchant. I got efficiency 5, which is awesome. Silk touch, which is really good, because then you can maintain the same blocks. So I guess I could use that to harvest all those diamond blocks and just keep them all in my inventory. And then on top of it, it has Unbreaking 3 with it, which is great because that way this nice pick will last a long time, and so that's awesome. And then here I got really shafted with just an efficiency 3 pick, which is, you know, good for just digging through a mine shaft, but really a waste of levels. And then this is the latest one I just did, which is efficiency 4 on breaking 3. And that's a lot better because it's obviously efficiency 4 is really good. You'll be able to just blow through bricks really quickly. And then the unbreaking, which just makes it worth using all those levels on something to have it last a lot longer. And so, yep, that's what I've got so far for enchants. And I used the 3 diamonds I had for this guy. And then the sticky balls, the slime balls, I've got quite a few already, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I've already used, I think, 30 on the enchanting room, and then probably another 8 or so on the power plant. So I've had quite a few, really. And then my block of iron, block of gold, block of lapis. So we're getting a pretty good stockpile of resources going. Where did this just come from? Am I seeing things? I swear to... Now it's... What the... It disappeared, and now it's back. What the hell's going on? I swear this block wasn't here. And how it would even got placed there is completely beyond me, because there's nothing to place it on. That's... Wow. That's strange. Alright, so I want to show you the cave, the mine shaft that I've been working on. This is where I've actually been spending a lot of time, and it's turned out to be pretty good. I think at first I was kind of disappointed because I wasn't, if you remember, I wasn't even getting iron at all out of this place, and it was just a ton of cobble for nothing, which was fine because we needed the cobble, but a little frustrating nonetheless. And so what I did initially, and I think the last time I took you down here, is when we had dug out, figured out which chunk the slimes can spawn at, and then kind of waited for some slimes. And so what I was doing is just sitting right here, kind of blocking myself in on these stairs and sitting here waiting for the slimes to spawn. And they do spawn in this chunk right here, which is hollowed out, and then up above here as well. And so what I've done is I extended this out a little bit. These wood blocks, again, are demarked for diamonds down that shaft. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then here's 7. This I ran out of wood is 8. So there's 8 things of diamond that we haven't harvested yet just down these shafts. And so that's pretty good. So what I did is, I actually, it's kind of funny because I went halfway up the stairs. There was a ravine, and I went out this way. But just after working my way through and around and up and around, I actually ended up finding my first spawner, which took me a really long time to find. Really unusual because typically you run into those pretty quickly, I think, and pretty often. And so as I was trying to dig my way, I basically wrote down the coordinates. I wanted to find the quickest way there from here. I found another abandoned mine shaft, which I haven't really explored at all yet. And there's actually some lava right above us here. There was. And so here, again, is just the other side of this ravine, which I haven't really, again, explored much of this side of it at all. And then the abandoned mine shaft goes here. But what I did is just kind of ignored that, essentially. And then came up here to my spawner. And you can see even more stuff up here. Came up here to my spawner and set up my first XP grinder. And it's a zombie spawner. So basically they drop down 22 levels down to here, which they take a lot of fall damage, and I can just stand here and kill them, throw all the zombie meat and trash into the lava, and then keep the good stuff. And the cool thing is now, one of the changes with the game is that the zombies actually drop rare drops. And you'll see here, one of them is iron helmets, which I've got quite a few of, iron shovels, which again I have a ton of, and iron swords, which I would have actually a really lot of. But I use iron swords to kill the zombies, just because it goes a lot faster. And the durability I really don't care about because I know I'm going to get at least 1 or 2 more. And it's worked out, excuse me, to where I'm actually netting more iron swords than I'm using to kill them all. And so what I do is basically just come up here and then just go next to my closed off mine shaft, or not mine shaft, my closed off spawner, which is right behind this wall here. And then I just sit here AFK basically while I'm doing other things, and you can hear them behind this wall here. And so I just sit here for a little while and just let zombies spawn, and basically they just fall down. I thought with the new AI that they wouldn't necessarily fall off the signs anymore. I thought I saw some YouTubers' videos where they were smart enough now to know that a sign isn't a flat thing they can walk on. But I've got the pit set up with signs next to them, and they still do walk off of it. And I actually have a pit right underneath the spawner, so sometimes they just spawn right down the pit. But you'll see here, here's a couple of them that we've got so far. And so then I just sit here and kill these guys and grab their XP and go from there. So that's how I've done that. I've done, I think, 4 level 50 enchants so far, which is, you know, not too bad. It's not the most efficient grinder, that's for sure, but it definitely works. It serves its purpose. And all I'm really looking for is that fortune enchant for diamonds. And then I'm not going to be too concerned about the enchanting aspect of things because it doesn't really matter. It's not that hard, you know, to just avoid things. I pretty much light things up as I go and never really run into too many guys to where I just have to have this amazingly enchanted gear or anything like that. So not too worried about that. Maybe when we get to the Nether and try and take over a Nether fortress, that might be a different story. But for right now, not a big deal. And so that's basically it. That's all the updates. And I apologize that this has kind of become an update video from the last one. But I really just didn't have the time or energy to record at the times that I was doing some of this stuff, and never really logged on for a long period of time to where I was going to spend a solid amount of time building too much. And like that enchanting room, I did that over a really long period of time, just kind of logging in and doing, you know, 10-20 minutes of it here or there between working on other stuff. And so I just didn't want to record it unless I was going to do it all in one block. And there will be much more. It's definitely a lot more to show. I think what I'm going to do also, if I haven't mentioned this, is over here where my mineshaft door is, all along this mountain, I'm going to build buildings into the mountain and connect that to the village on this back side so that there's kind of a walkway for villagers to go over there. I think that'll look pretty good. And then I haven't decided either how I'm going to come down here, if I want to try and level this all off, which would take absolutely forever, or if I just want to leave the land structure very similar to the way it is and just flatten out where I want to build houses, or if I want to just have it come out to like here and then drop off with like stairs going down and then level it out a lot lower. Still kind of working on that. It's not the greatest of situations. It's going to be a lot of time either way. Whether I level it off or raise it up or whatever I do, it's just going to take forever. So kind of annoying, I think. And so, you know, we've got some half slabs and some other stone bricks here. And so I think since I haven't built anything, I kind of feel obligated to do something building related here, since I haven't done hardly any of the building on this video in a couple of episodes now. So let's just go ahead and knock some of this out here real quick. I actually don't have the wood. Actually, I think I probably do have enough wood, but I don't have any of the chests made for this yet. Which was something that's kind of just an oversight. I guess I should have probably figured that out ahead of time. But that's alright. Nonetheless, we can go ahead and get this up and get some of these things knocked out. And so that's basically the outline of what it's going to look like. I thought about doing something underneath it, but I don't know how much you'd even notice it because there's just that tiny little bit of sand underneath it. I probably should have put them on half slabs or something, but then there's that weird gap that's always kind of funny. It never looks really that good. And so I think I'm going to need to get rid of this wood here too. I don't think that's going to look very good. And I'm not sure either if I want to have it as such a wide entrance or if I want to close it off and have it just too wide. And then, again, not sure about the doors. I think that the villagers are so obnoxious. I mean, you should have seen when I was doing the redstone for that enchanting room. They were just absolutely insane, just jumping down into the pits, and they just would not leave me alone. I mean, it made it probably twice as long of a project just because of how many villagers were just in the way, being obnoxious. I ended up actually killing a whole bunch of them with sand, just suffocating them with sand in the pit because they wouldn't get out, and I didn't have the time or patience to sit there and build them a stairway out, let them all get out. So I just filled it all in with sand, which just killed them all, which was kind of funny. And the other thing that I discovered too is that the iron golems will get hostile to you if you kill a villager, or even all you have to do is actually just hit a villager. Even if you just hit them one time, that's enough to make them hostile towards you. But they don't do it if you're not really close to them. So you have to be kind of within range of them. And then when they do get hostile to you, they will stay hostile to you until you leave the space. So basically the way that you avoid getting killed by them is just to kind of sprint, run away as fast as you can. And just once you've gone out a distance, they just kind of forget about you and leave you alone. Which is pretty nice because, you know, typically they will kill you in 1 or 2 shots if they get close to you. Usually not 1, usually 2. But they toss you up in the air, so you kind of take, I think, the initial hit damage, and then you take some falling damage. And so it's kind of a double whammy. And then I think they do hit for a pretty good amount of hearts as well. So if you're not at full health, you're going to be in some serious trouble. But they are very slow. They're easy to run away from. So as long as you understand that you're going to be attacked, and they'll just kind of congregate around you. So if you go hide in a house, they'll just be following you around a house, kind of like spiders would track you from outside of a house is kind of how they operate. So what I do is I just run to my house, get my health back up, and then just bolt out of there, go down to my mine shaft, and by the time I get back, they've forgotten all about it, and it's no big deal. But I did kill some in my enchanting room as well, and they just pretty much ignored me. You know, they didn't. I guess I wasn't within a close enough range for them to care, I guess. And so I don't know what to do here for the ceiling. I haven't really thought about that much. But I think what I'm going to do is that lapis, like I said, on the corners, probably in this doorway arches. But I'm thinking that we could probably just go sandstone over the top of it like this. And then that too, the other thing it'll do is to keep a flat roof like this, we'll easily leave the door open for us if we decide that we want to go back later and add a second story to this. If it gets to the point where we have just so many resources that we need the space, we can extend this by going up, probably would be the best way. Probably more efficient just from a spacing standpoint than extending this building out in one direction or another. Because I don't think we want it to have too huge of a footprint typically. But I don't think that we're going to have a problem with too many resources just because, you know, resources take a lot of time to gather, obviously. And I'd rather spend the time building. So I think, you know, as we get resources, we're probably going to be using them. Because I kind of just generally go and get resources to be able to have enough for my next project, and then I just go do that project and move on from there. So that's, you know, generally how I kind of handle that. Although, you know, getting resources is something that I can do off camera, and it, you know, works out pretty well because I don't think people want to see me digging into mineshaft, you know, because that's obviously pretty boring, and I probably don't have enough to talk about for a seriously extended period of time like that. So I think that's probably the best way to do it. And there's, you know, times where I just have a little bit of time to kill, not a lot, and so just digging in the mine shaft for a little bit of time is something that I can do, and there's no set start or stop time with it. It's just, dig out a tunnel. I usually end up just going till all my tools are broke or my inventory's full, and then I just call it a day and move on with something else. But I, have tried to not do too much building off camera on my own. But that is something that unfortunately I did do here the last time. But I think for the most part I'll be able to record a lot of the building that goes on from here. And we gotta light this up because, inevitably those guys will just spawn on top of us, which is never a good thing. So we'll extend this guy out here. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention as well is I've just started to live stream, and the quality on it I don't think is good because I really no clue, total noob when it comes to live streaming. But I did buy the software to do it, and I got the Twitch TV account set up, and I gave it kind of a trial run where I didn't actually record any commentary. I just was doing random things. I think one of them was laying out the base for this building and maybe the castle. I don't know. I have about 45 minutes of video recorded on the Twitch TV account. So if you go to my page on Twitch TV, it's actually my main name, which is XXXSRCXX. And there's a link on my channel to it on my channel page. If I don't put the link in the description for this video, I may or may not remember to do that. But you can definitely check it out. And I plan on live streaming in the future. But I don't think I'm going to live stream the important building. I think the best content for this series is still going to be on this channel. And the live streaming is going to be more of the boring stuff, like trying to figure things out. Like when I did the power plant, that's something I would have live streamed because it was going to take a long time. It was too long for one video or even two videos. And there was some trial and error with it. And I don't want to sit here and waste your time while I'm putting together some complicated redstone circuit that's just incorrect. And then when it doesn't work, I have to spend a bunch of time troubleshooting it. And so that's something that, would be better suited, I think, for a live stream. And the nice thing about the live stream is it records every live stream and has them as videos on my Twitch channel. And so what you can do is go over there. If you follow my page, you'll be able to get an email notifying you when I go live to live stream. And it's probably going to be pretty late at night Central Time, probably after 10 p.m. most days for now, until it becomes, an actual thing that I do on a regular basis. But it's basically just, like I said, in its early stages. The recordings that I had some kind of hiss in the background. I don't think I had the audio settings right on it at all. And, things like that. So I'll get all that stuff squared away. It was just something where I was just trying to figure out even how to get the account started and how to do stuff like that. So now that that's done and established, hopefully I'll be able to kind of live stream more on a regular basis, which will be pretty nice. And so we're all out of torches. So this is kind of what this is going to look like. Again, some lapis here and on the corners. And it's basically just a storage place. So we'll have signs here to tell you what's in each aisle. Probably have some sand and sandstone and smooth stone and gravel and dirt and, glass, all that stuff. This is just going to be kind of the building materials building. Kind of like a Home Depot, I guess. And then, the more expensive stuff or rare stuff we'll have in smaller buildings around the village. Could probably build a market of some kind, which is the idea. But that's it for this video, guys. I appreciate you watching as always. And in the next video here, we'll probably work on this castle and get this thing built up, and then hopefully get some obsidian so we can get the Nether portal going. And then the episode after that, so hopefully, will be the journey into the Nether. But for now, I'm just going to continue to get some resources on my own and maybe put some finishing touches on this storage building here. But other than that, that's it for this video, guys, and I will see you in the next episode.